A Florida town survived a devastating hurricane and came back smarter than before. Another runs entirely on sunlight. One has fewer people than a high school, yet deeper history than Miami. If you think retiring in Florida means condos, crowds, and HOA notices taped to your door, you've been shown the wrong picture. Because the real Florida isn't advertised. It's hidden, quiet, intentional. Choose the wrong town and you lose money, patience, and peace. Choose the right one and retirement feels like you hacked the system. Some places erase stress, others erase power outages, and one erases urgency itself. One of these towns might actually scare you unless you're ready to live with silence. Let's move fast. Number 10. Cedar Key, Florida's hidden escape. Cedar Key doesn't just ignore modern life, it refuses to participate. No corporate chains, no traffic lights, no deadlines chasing you down the street. Florida's Big Bend like it forgot the rest of the state exists. Population, fewer than 1,000 souls. Crime, practically zero. Homes with serene water views, still under 300K. This isn't about slowing down, it's about stepping off the treadmill entirely. No Starbucks for 50 miles, no Uber at 2 a.m., no flashing notifications demanding attention. Instead, you get evenings that feel earned. Salt in the air, porch music drifting across empty streets, sun setting behind mangroves. Time itself seems to stretch. Your nervous system learns to breathe differently. Even a simple walk down the boardwalk feels like a small ceremony. Passing 3 art galleries, 2 cats sunning themselves, and maybe a local in a pirate hat muttering, "Evening's fine, isn't it?" If this feels disconnected, Cedar Key is designed to challenge your attachment to convenience. Here, patience isn't optional, it's mandatory. But if you think this is extreme, wait. The next town on our list doesn't just step away from chaos, it refuses to lose power. Life is measured in tides, not deadlines, no matter the storm. Number 9, Babcock Ranch, Florida's solar fortress. Babcock Ranch didn't just survive hurricanes, it made them look amateur. While surrounding towns went dark, here the lights never flickered. Wi-Fi stayed live. Solar panels hummed quietly. Battery backups absorbed the storm's rage. This wasn't luck. It was designed with precision from day one. America's first fully solar-powered town. Built from scratch, not patched together with messy retrofits. No, we'll fix it later attitude. Every street, every home, every system thought through. Crime far below the national average. Power grid? 100% solar with on-site storage. Internet? Fiber optic streaming 4K with 0 interruptions, even mid-storm. Homes? Modern, efficient, low maintenance, engineered for living, not nostalgia. Living here means betting on systems, not vibes. Everything works. Everything behaves. Every corner, every sign, every sidewalk obeys logic. Some call it peace of mind. Others call it eerily perfect. Even the parks, the crosswalks, the streetlights, they almost feel too disciplined. Here's the choice you didn't know existed. Do you want charming unpredictability or the certainty that everything just works? Because the next town on our list will reject both. No speed, no perfection. Just life, raw, unpredictable, and unplanned. Number 8, Apalachicola, Florida's time capsule. Apalachicola doesn't perform for anyone. No neon lights. No growth obsession. No pretending. This town runs on boats, oysters, and memory. Population barely 2,000. Homes are affordable, honest, unpretentious. Crime is almost non-existent because nothing here needs guarding. Time doesn't just slow down, it loosens. The clock isn't broken. It simply doesn't matter. Nobody asks what you used to do. They ask if you're staying for dinner. Life is measured in tides, not deadlines. But there's a cost. No big box stores within miles. Late night options. Practically zero. You must plan ahead or risk running out of groceries or fuel. The reward? Mornings that start with water lapping against the dock, not alarms. Sunrise filtering through mangroves. The smell of brine, the distant clatter of fishing boats, and the soft creak of old piers. A town that demands you pay attention to the small, beautiful details. Apalachicola doesn't seduce with luxury or convenience. It seduces with presence. You'll notice things you never noticed before. Porches with stories. Fishermen trading gossip, oysters steaming at dawn. Evenings drift by without notifications, just the hum of life itself. If this feels too raw, too unfiltered, brace yourself. Because the next town on our list trades this chaos for controlled, almost eerie perfection. Here's the question for you. Would you trade convenience for real, untamed mornings? Or would life this slow drive you insane? Number 7, Watersound, Florida's secret sanctuary. Watersound isn't just a town, it's a purchase of silence. Nestled on Florida's panhandle, it hides like a secret no one was supposed to discover. No towers interrupt the horizon. No neon lights screaming for attention. No chaos. Development is strictly controlled. Zoning rules are enforced like a code. Beaches are protected, untouched, pristine. That's why homes here cost a premium. You're not buying square footage. You're buying absence of noise, crowds, and surprises. Crime almost laughably low. Traffic practically non-existent. Stress gone before you unpack your bags. But here's the catch. This town doesn't bend for you. You bend for it. Your schedule, your habits, your pace all conform to its rhythm. Need stimulation? Skip it. Want your blood pressure to drop permanently? Stay here. Every sunrise feels intentional. Every evening whispers calm. The air smells like dunes and pine. Sand crunches softly underfoot. Every street, every path, every wave reminds you you're not in control. The town is... If that level of deliberate perfection feels suffocating, brace yourself. Because the next town on our list breaks every rule. Chaos, unpredictability, life unplanned, it's waiting. Here's the question for you. Can you surrender to absolute calm? Or does your spirit need a little chaos to feel alive? Number 6, Defuniak Springs, Florida's perfect circle. Defuniak Springs isn't just a town. It's a geometric marvel. At its center lies a perfectly round, spring-fed lake, gleaming like a hidden jewel. Historic homes ring the water, each porch telling a story, each street a quiet invitation. Prices remain reasonable. Crime even lower. Noise barely exists. This isn't beach Florida. This is porch Florida. Life here slows down, not broken, not lazy, but reflective. The cost of living isn't dollars, it's momentum. Hurry has no place here. Speed limits feel symbolic. Schedules feel optional. Clocks seem politely irrelevant. But here's the beauty. The town gently asks you why you were ever in a rush. Walk along the lake at dawn. See the reflection of century-old homes in the glassy water. Hear the distant chime of a bell, soft, deliberate, echoing across the circle. Notice the subtle details. Brickwork, wooden benches, wrought iron lampposts standing like sentinels of patience. For those allergic to waiting, Defuniak Springs will test you. For those willing to pause, it rewards with clarity, calm, and the kind of quiet that rewires your perspective. And now let's turn the page. Because the next town on our list shows what happens when resilience meets reinvention. Number 5, Punta Gorda, Florida's hurricane survivor. Punta Gorda wasn't always peaceful. A massive hurricane once flattened this town, leaving streets unrecognizable and homes shattered. But instead of surrendering, it rose from the rubble smarter and stronger. Sidewalks now hug the waterfront, perfect for sunrise strolls with water reflecting soft orange and pink hues. Bike paths weave through quiet neighborhoods, lined with oak trees and shaded benches. Even the roads feel intentional. Drainage, signage, and streetlights designed for efficiency, not chaos. Crime rates plummeted after rebuilding. Healthcare access is top-notch. Hospitals, urgent care specialists all within reach for retirees. Waterfront homes remain surprisingly affordable for coastal living, with views that make every morning feel like a painting. This isn't just functional, it's deliberate. No frenzied jet skis, no overcrowded condos, no HOA nightmares plastered on your door. The town hums quietly like it learned from its past and refuses to repeat the chaos. But there's a trade-off. Energy levels are intentionally low. Drama is microscopic. Spontaneous excitement must be scheduled. An organized kayak trip, a sunset walk, a quiet festival downtown. If you crave loud, unpredictable living, Punta Gorda will feel too tame. If you want calm competence, streets that work, services that function, and life that moves at the right pace, this town delivers every time. Mornings begin with water lapping gently against docks, gulls circling above, the smell of salt and citrus mixing in the air. Neighborhoods are shaded with centuries-old trees, the streets almost empty except for a jogger or a cyclist. Evenings drift slowly, porch lights flicker on, residents sip coffee or wine, and the water reflects a soft, tranquil sky. Punta Gorda doesn't just survive hurricanes, it learns from them. Every rebuilt home, every street, every path reflects resilience and foresight. It's Florida with order, function, and peace baked into its foundation. And now here's the twist. If this level of calm, competence, and quiet feels too modern, too structured, the next town ignores calendars, chaos, and even modernity itself. It thrives in the past unapologetically. Would you pick a town that survived disaster and rebuilt perfectly? Or do you secretly crave chaos to feel truly alive? Number 4. McCanopy, Florida's timeless retreat. McCanopy doesn't rush, not casually, not politely. It simply refuses. Population? Fewer than 700. Chains none. Noise almost offensive. If you even hear it, it's probably the wind. This town feels like Florida paused in the 1800s and refused to hit play again. Retirees come here to disappear quietly, blending into streets lined with centuries-old oak trees, moss-draped branches, and historic clapboard homes. Antique shops open when they please. Local cafes serve conversation before coffee. Time becomes optional. Schedules feel like a polite suggestion. Crime practically non-existent. No urgency to break rules. No pressure to impress anyone. Stroll down the main street. The air smells of aged wood, fresh coffee, and herbs growing along the porches. A rocking chair creaks softly on a wooden porch as someone reads a well-worn book. Cats slink between lampposts and shop windows. Spanish moss sways in a gentle breeze, whispering stories decades old. The sun filters through oak leaves, casting intricate shadows on cobblestone sidewalks. But here's the truth. Canopy challenges your obsession with productivity. Deadlines and calendars seem absurd here. Waiting becomes a lesson. Patience isn't optional, it's unavoidable. For those willing to surrender, this town resets your internal rhythm. Life is measured not by speed, but by depth, by slow conversations, quiet mornings, and long walks beneath mossy trees. Evenings drift lazily, lit by the glow of porch lamps and lanterns. The town doesn't shout. It whispers. It teaches the power of stillness so profound that your priorities naturally shift. Canopy doesn't advertise. It waits. It rewards patience. It reminds you that slowing down isn't a loss, it's a gain. Could you let go of urgency completely? Or would absolute stillness make your skin crawl? Number 3, Port Charlotte, Florida's quiet advantage. Port Charlotte doesn't chase attention. It wins on logistics, layout, and long-term stability, sitting between flashy coastal cities and forgotten towns. It avoids both extremes, and that balance is its edge. There's no tourism circus, no party reputation, no ego baked into the zip code. Housing stays reasonable for coastal Florida while nearby cities price people out. Healthcare access is excellent with hospitals, specialists, and clinics close by. Crime remains below national averages, because daily life here doesn't invite chaos. This is a town built for people who think long-term. Canals replace crowds. Boat ramps replace beach bars. Water access replaces parking fights. Daily life actually functions. Errands are easy. Traffic behaves. Appointments run on time. And systems work quietly in the background. Port Charlotte attracts planners, not performers. People who already did the chaos phase. People who value space, predictability, and calm systems over Instagram views. Now the trade-off. This town isn't exciting. There are no headline moments, no bragging rights, no stories that impress strangers. If you need stimulation or nightlife, you'll be bored. But if you need stability, something shifts. Your shoulders drop. Your sleep improves. Your nervous system finally stands down. Port Charlotte doesn't impress visitors. It supports residents. And the next town on this list pushes that idea even further, testing not boredom, but your tolerance for isolation itself. Number 2, Everglades City, dark Florida's edge. Everglades City isn't pretending to be normal. It sits at the literal edge of civilization and never apologizes for it. Population hovers just above 400, yet the wildlife outnumbers people, and silence outperforms signal strength. There are no beaches, no shopping centers, no casual conveniences, and no backup plans. What you get instead is raw Florida. Mangroves stretching to the horizon, skies so dark at night they feel ancient, and air that feels untouched by schedules or noise. Crime is almost irrelevant because opportunity barely exists. Homes remain shockingly affordable for true waterfront access. But the price isn't financial, it's psychological. This town demands self-reliance. Storms feel closer here. Supplies require planning. Help is never instant. Daily life strips down to essentials. You track weather. You manage fuel. You respect distance. The environment is present, constant, and unapologetic. This isn't retirement designed for comfort. It's retirement designed for people who want to disappear on purpose. If you crave isolation, Everglades City delivers it honestly. No filters. No safety nets. No illusions. And if that thought unsettles you, that's the point. Because the final town on this list flips the energy completely, trading isolation for charm, quiet for warmth, and survival for story. Number 1. Mount Dora, the Florida town that actually works. Mount Dora doesn't announce itself. It reveals itself slowly. You don't arrive here and feel retired. You arrive and feel placed. Brick streets guide you into a downtown that isn't preserved for tourists, it's lived in. Storefronts aren't themed. They're personal. Cafes open early and close when conversation ends, not when a timer does. People wave because they recognize you, not because it's polite. This town understands something most Florida cities forgot. Retirement isn't about stopping. It's about removing friction. Mount Dora runs on rhythm. Monthly festivals aren't marketing stunts. They're community glue. Art walks, antique fairs, music nights, holiday parades. Events happen often enough that you don't cling to them. But not so often they feel forced. Life has momentum without urgency. Geography quietly protects you here. Being inland matters more than brochures admit. Hurricanes lose strength before they arrive. Storm anxiety drops. Elevation is higher than most of the state, which means water drains instead of waits. Flood risk isn't zero, but it's no longer the headline. Healthcare is close, reliable, and integrated. Hospitals, specialists, and emergency care sit within practical distance without dragging traffic, sirens, or sprawl into daily life. You don't feel surrounded by medicine, but you're covered. Crime remains low because Mount Dora is socially dense. People are outside, streets are walkable, businesses are local. When places feel watched by care instead of cameras, problems don't grow. Housing tells the real story. Prices aren't cheap, but they're sane. No panic cycles. No speculative whiplash. Homes hold value because demand is steady, not manic. You're not buying status, you're buying durability. What makes Mount Dora different is integration. This town doesn't let you disappear. New residents are absorbed, not parked. You don't retire away from life, you retire into it. Clubs, volunteer groups, events, and casual rituals pull you in without pressure. This place attracts a very specific retiree. People who want charm without fragility, culture without congestion, community without obligation, peace without isolation. Mount Dora isn't silent. It isn't sleepy. It isn't cheap, but it's balanced. And in Florida, balance is the rarest luxury of all. That's why Mount Dora isn't just number one. It's the control group.